For 3 straight years, the servers I managed for the company had a perfect zero-failure record. But to the new director of operations, that just meant I had a cushy job. My boss, listening to his poisonous advice, slashed my salary from $150,000 a year to a measly $30,000. Small, it done. All you do is tap a few keys on a keyboard all day. The cleaning lady works harder than you. There are a million people looking for work right now. Anyone could do your job. We're only keeping you on at 30 grand out of respect for your time here. And don't give me that security maintenance crap. I see it for what it is, a total waste of company resources. The director of operations fanned the flames from the sidelines. Exactly. The system is already stable. What's there to maintain? I looked at my boss's face, a perfect mask of corporate betrayal, and quietly disabled the automated threat interception script. Fine, I said. You're right, Ms. Reed. The system doesn't need a babysitter. 30 grand it is. For a fintech firm like this, I guess running naked is what the system deserves. Sign it, Ethan. Chad Miller, the director of operations, tossed the salary reduction notice onto my desk. Its sharp paper edge grazed my cheek. It stung a little, but I didn't react. I just bent down and picked up the sheet of paper. Salary adjustment notification. IT department, Ethan Hayes. Annual salary adjusted from $150,000 to $30,000. Change in job responsibilities. Responsible for turning company computers on and off, changing the water cooler bottle, refilling paper in the printer. I had to laugh. They were turning me into the office gopher. The CEO, Lauren Reed, sat back in her plush leather throne, spinning a Mont Blanc pen between her fingers. She didn't even bother to look at me. What? You have a problem with it? She asked, her voice dripping with disdain. If you don't like it, you can leave. There's a line of college grads out the door waiting to get into this company. Ethan, you should learn to be grateful. For the last 3 years, you've pocketed $500,000 from this company. I should be asking you to pay it back. Chad chimed in with a smug, sycophantic tone. She's right, man. Your whole skills set is obsolete. Everything is cloud-based and AI-driven now. Nobody keeps guys like you on the payroll just to sit around. Lauren's being generous, letting you stick around. Don't be an ungrateful jerk. I placed the notice back on the table. I picked up the pen, and with a few quick strokes, I signed my name. Fine. I'll sign. Lauren and Chad exchanged a look, a greasy, triumphant smirk passing between them. They thought I would throw a fit. They thought I would get on my knees and beg, or that I would argue like I always had about the critical importance of system security. But I didn't, because, honestly, I was tired. Over the past few years, I'd watched my colleagues in the IT department get picked off one by one, all in the name of cutting costs, until it was just me. I even asked, feigning helpfulness, Ms. Reed, since my salary has been cut, should I stick strictly to the duties listed here? Lauren waved her hand impatiently. Obviously, the IT department is dissolved. You report to Chad now. Go do what you're told and get out of my sight. Oh, and clear out your office. Chad doesn't like the view from his current one. I nodded. No problem. I turned and walked out of the CEO's office, heading back to my small, private office, perpetually filled with the low hum of server fans. I opened my laptop. The screen flickered to life, filled with endless lines of scrolling green code. My life's work. It was the Aegis defense system, custom built by me for this P2P lending firm. In the last 3 years, it had faced over 34 million external attacks. Every single one was automatically intercepted and neutralized. The billions of dollars in transactions flowing through the company's accounts remained untouched, all thanks to this system. Lauren thought the system's stability was just a given. Chad probably thought the firewall came pre-installed on the servers. Idiots. A pair of museum-grade morons. My fingers danced across the keyboard as I typed a single command. Shutdown _ Aegis. Enter. The green code on the screen instantly froze, then vanished line by line. All that remained was a single blinking cursor, the signal that the system was now running completely naked. I unplugged my hardware security key and tossed it into my backpack. Then, I started packing my personal belongings. Chad burst in with 2 assistants from the admin department. Let's go chop chop. Stop dragging your feet. Throw all this junk out, he commanded, pointing at my expensive hardware diagnostic tools. And that's all company property. You can't take it. I ignored him. I took only my coffee mug and my copy of the salary reduction notice. Chad, I said, next time your computer breaks, don't call me. He scoffed. Call you? You think you're qualified? My nephew is a computer science major, graduated from top university. He's 100 times better than an old dinosaur like you. Now get lost. Go sit at the front desk. We have clients coming in later, so remember to offer them water. I just smiled. Carrying my backpack, I walked to the corner of the reception area to the small desk that used to belong to the cleaning lady. I sat down, pulled out my phone, and opened a game. Lauren, Chad, your nightmare is about to begin. 2. The first day was quiet. The sharks hadn't smelled the blood in the water yet, but the internal chaos was already starting. The next morning, I could hear Chad roaring from his new office. What the hell? Why is my computer taking forever to boot up? And what's with all these pop-up ads? Ethan, where the hell are you? I was at the reception desk, chatting with the cleaning lady. Hearing him yell, I slowly ambled over. Chad pointed a shaking finger at his screen, which was plastered with garbage ads. He was so angry he sprayed spit all over my face. What is this? Fix it. Now. I'm the director of operations. I have million-dollar deals to close. If you screw this up, can you afford to pay for it? I glanced at the screen. It was a classic case of malware bundled with some sketchy software. My Aegis script used to filter out all this junk traffic automatically. Now that the script was off, and considering Chad's habit of visiting questionable websites, an infection was inevitable. I held up my hands. Sorry, Chad. I can't fix it. His eyes bulged. Bullshit. You're the tech guy, aren't you? I pulled the crumpled salary notice from my pocket and pointed to the list of responsibilities. See, right here, it says I'm responsible for turning computers on and off. Allow me to demonstrate. I leaned down and pressed the power button on his desktop tower. Forced shutdown. The screen went black. There. Shutdown complete. I pressed it again, and now it's turning on. I stood up straight and brushed my hands together. My work here is done, Chad. He was trembling with rage. He snatched the ashtray from his desk and hurled it against the floor, shattering it into a dozen pieces. Are you messing with me? You want me to fire you right now? Is that it? Just then, Lauren walked in, her heels clicking authoritatively on the floor. What is all this shouting? It's first thing in the morning. Chad's demeanor changed in an instant. He put on a pathetic, aggrieved expression. Lauren, look at this guy, he whined. My computer has a virus, and when I ask him to fix it, he starts playing games with me. If he can't even handle a simple thing like this, what's the point of keeping him around? Lauren shot me a disgusted look. Ethan, are you trying to get fired? We pay you to work, not to sit around acting like you own the place. Fix Chad's computer right now, or I'm docking this month's pay. I looked at her with an expression of pure innocence. It's not that I won't fix it, Lauren, but you know the saying, 30 grand a year gets you a driver, not a mechanic. If I start messing with the computer's operating system and something breaks, who's responsible? I can't afford that kind of liability. Besides, I added, didn't Chad say his nephew from that top university is a genius? Just have him do it. Lauren was speechless. She pointed a trembling finger at my nose. Fine, you want to be smart. You won't fix it, right? Chad, call your nephew. Get him in here. Let's see how this place falls apart without St. Ethan, shall we? Chad immediately whipped out his phone. Hey, Cody, get your ass over to the office now. That's right. You're the new director of technology. Of course. We'll start you at 75 grand a year. Chad hung up and gave me a triumphant glare. You hear that? 75 grand. More than double what you make now. From now on, you'll be getting him coffee. I just shrugged. Congratulations on the new hire, Chad. I walked back to the reception desk and continued my conversation. 75 grand? For a fresh-faced grad to maintain an enterprise-level financial services platform? Money well spent. Truly, I almost felt like humming Happy Days Are Here Again. That afternoon, the nephew, Cody, showed up. He had a mop of bleach blonde hair and was wearing skinny jeans so tight I was worried for his circulation. He walked with a swagger that suggested he'd learned it from music videos. Chad slung an arm around his shoulder, practically beaming. Cody, my man, this is the server room. From now on, this is your kingdom. As long as the system doesn't crash, you can do whatever you want. Cody, snapping a piece of bubblegum, looked around with an air of utter disdain. Don't worry about it, Uncle Chad. It's just a couple of servers. Big deal. Back in college, I was the go-to guy for fixing everyone's gaming PCs. I know my way around a computer. Standing nearby, I almost choked trying to hold back my laughter. The guy who fixes gaming PCs? Maintaining a live financial transaction system? That's a bigger leap of faith than skydiving without a parachute. I continued to play the part of the invisible man. Things started spiraling out of control even faster than I'd hoped. On the third day, the company's mobile apps started lagging. The customer support channels blew up. What's going on? Why can't I withdraw my money? The login screen is just spinning forever. What a piece of crap app. Hello, is anyone in customer service alive over there? The support department's phone lines were completely overwhelmed. Several of the junior reps were crying at their desks from the verbal abuse. Chad rushed into the server room. Cody, what's happening? We're getting flooded with complaints. Cody was sweating profusely, frantically typing on a keyboard. I don't know, Uncle Chad. The CPU usage is stuck at 100%. Did we get a virus or something? Chad was panicking. Well, run a scan. Get rid of it. Cody clumsily downloaded the first free antivirus suite he could find online. Then he clicked one-click tune-up and clean. I was watching from the doorway. I held a moment of silence for the servers. Installing consumer-grade antivirus on an enterprise financial server, and then using the clean-up function? To him, all those critical system logs and cache files probably just looked like junk. Sure enough, a second later, red alarm lights started flashing in the server room. A piercing siren echoed through the entire office. Beep, 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 warning. Database connection lost. Warning, firewall compromised. Lauren bolted out of her office, her hair a mess. What's happening? What is that noise? Why does my own account show a balance of 0? Chad's face went white as a sheet. Cody, what did you do? Cody's hands were shaking so hard he could barely keep them on the keyboard. I just cleaned up some junk files. I don't know what happened. Lauren stormed into the server room and saw the dead, black screens. She spun around and slapped Chad clean across the face. Crack. The sound was beautifully crisp. This is your expert? She screamed. This is your top university genius. What the hell is this nephew of yours? Chad clutched his cheek, speechless. He turned and kicked Cody. You useless piece of crap. Fix it. Cody was on the verge of tears. I can't, Uncle Chad. This system is too complicated. It's not like the computers in the dorm. It was only then that Lauren finally remembered I existed. Her head snapped around. Her eyes locked on me, sitting quietly in my corner. Ethan, get over here. I slowly brushed the imaginary dust off my pants and stood up. I walked calmly to the server room entrance. Yes, Ms. Reed? How can I help you? Lauren pointed a shaking finger at the dark monitors. Fix it. Fix the system now. You fix it, and I'll give you a raise. I'll raise you to $5,000 a month. No, 6. I smiled. 6,000 a month? Is she trying to bribe a panhandler? Looking at the completely crashed transaction interface, I knew this was only the appetizer. The real slaughter hadn't even begun. I stood in the doorway, my arms crossed, leaning against the frame. I can't do that, Lauren. I'm a maintenance worker now. My skills are limited to refilling printer paper and making coffee. Besides, your genius over here is the one who broke it. Whoever breaks it, fixes it. That's the rule. Lauren was so angry her chest was heaving, the buttons on her tailored blazer straining. Ethan, the company's survival is on the line, and you want to stand here and negotiate terms with me? Do you want to go to jail? You're a senior employee. What good does it to you to watch the company burn? The good old guilt trip. I was so tired of that routine. I signed a new contract, Lauren. It's all there in black and white. And if I recall, you two were the ones saying my job was pointless and that the system didn't need maintenance. Now that there's a crisis, you suddenly remember my name? Too late. As we were locked in this standoff, the head of customer service came running over, stumbling. She held up a tablet, her face pale as a ghost. Lauren, it's a catastrophe. Look at this. Lauren snatched the tablet from her. I leaned in to get a look. On the homepage of our company app, where ad for investment products usually scrolled, there was now a single image, a black background with stark red text. It read, "This system is running naked. Welcome." And right below it, a stream of data began to scroll at an impossible speed. It was a live feed of user withdrawals. Transaction after transaction, money was being funneled out to a series of anonymous accounts. $10, 0, 0, 0. $100, 0, 0, 0. $1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. The numbers were ticking up so fast it made me dizzy to watch. Lauren's hand started to shake. The tablet slipped from her grasp and crashed to the floor, the screen shattering into a spiderweb of cracks. My money. Our money. Call the police. Somebody call the police. Chad was fumbling for his own phone, his fingers too shaky to even dial 911. That's useless, I said coldly. This is an attack from an overseas hacking syndicate. By the time the cops get here, that money will have been laundered through a dozen crypto exchanges and be sitting in an offshore wallet. The only thing you can do now is physically disconnect the servers from the network and try to rebuild the firewall from scratch. Lauren looked at me as if I were her last hope. She grabbed my arm, her sharp nails digging into my skin. Then do it. What are you waiting for? Ethan, I'll undo the pay cut. I'll give you your old salary back. $150, 0, 0, 0. Just do it. I pulled my arm free and glanced at the clock on the wall. The hour hand was pointing directly at the 5. Sorry, Lauren, I said. It's 5 o'clock. I'm off the clock. And according to labor laws, I have the right to refuse overtime. With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, I could hear Lauren's hysterical screams. Ethan, you come back here. If you walk out that door, I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. I'll sue you for dereliction of duty, for sabotage. I didn't break my stride. As I reached the exit, I glanced back one last time. Chad was furiously slapping his nephew, Cody, across the face. Lauren had collapsed onto the floor, pounding her fists on the ground like a child throwing a tantrum. The entire office was in complete chaos. And I felt just one thing: satisfaction. The moment I stepped out of the office building, my phone began to vibrate uncontrollably. It was Lauren. I blocked her number. Then a call from Chad. Blocked. Finally, an unknown number. I thought for a second, then answered. Lauren's voice, choked with sobs, came through the speaker. She'd obviously borrowed someone's phone. Ethan, please, I'm begging you. Please come back. The money is still draining. We're past $50 million. The company is going to be destroyed. I'll give you $200,000 a year. Just name your price. I stood on the sidewalk, watching the evening traffic rush by. I lit a cigarette. Lauren, this isn't about money. It's about respect. When you were slashing my salary, did you ever think this day would come? When Chad was humiliating me, you seemed to be enjoying the show. You were laughing at me. Now, you've become the punchline. Is it still funny? Lauren was openly wailing on the other end of the line. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I've already fired that bastard Chad. He's gone. Just come back, and I'll agree to any condition you want. I exhaled a slow stream of smoke. It's too late. Start liquidating your assets to pay back the clients, Lauren. I hung up and blocked that number too. When I got home, I booted up my personal computer and connected to a node on the dark web. I wasn't at the office anymore, but I still wanted to watch the show. The hacker's skills were actually pretty mediocre. If my Aegis script had been active, they wouldn't have even been able to scratch the firewall. But now that server was like a stripper on stage, naked and exposed for anyone to exploit. The next day, I didn't go to the office. I emailed my resignation letter directly to Lauren's HR inbox. Reason for leaving: unable to perform janitorial duties to company standard. Around noon, I was in my kitchen making a quick bowl of ramen when someone started pounding on my door like they were trying to break it down. Open up. Ethan, you open this door right now. It was Chad's voice. I opened the door to find Chad standing there with 2 police officers. His face was a mess of black and blue bruises, and one of the arms of his glasses was broken. He pointed a trembling finger at me and yelled, "Officers, that's him. He's the one who conspired with hackers to attack our company." He deliberately shut down the firewall, causing over $100 million in losses. Arrest him. He should be locked up for life. I looked at Chad, who was acting like a rabid dog, and calmly stepped aside. Officers, please come in. You can't just make wild accusations like that, Chad. I have evidence that proves my innocence. The police were professional. They entered, showed me their badges, and got straight to the point. Mr. Hayes, we've received a report that implicates you in a major cybersecurity incident, one of them said. We need you to cooperate with our investigation. I nodded agreeably. Of course. Chad was practically jumping up and down. What's there to investigate? It was obviously him. He was the only one who touched the servers yesterday, and he had just gotten a pay cut, so he had a motive. I gave Chad a cold stare. You need proof to make claims like that, Chad. I led the officers to my home office setup. Officers, I keep backups of all my work logs, I said, pulling them up. Here are my exact keystroke records for before I left yesterday. And here, I added, holding up the paper, is the salary and job duty change notice. One of the officers read the notice, and his expression shifted from neutral to something between shock and amusement. They cut your pay from $150,000 to $30,000 and made you the office janitor. I gave a wry smile. Yeah, as you can imagine, my motivation to maintain their multi-billion-dollar system took a bit of a hit. Next, I accessed my personal cloud backup of the server logs. Now look at this, I said, pointing to timestamp. Yesterday afternoon, at 2:15 p.m., the account admin_Cody, that's Chad's nephew, executed a forced format command. He deleted all system logs and backup files. Then he disabled the port mapping that routed traffic through the firewall. At that exact moment, I was at the reception desk. The office security cameras will confirm that. The officer carefully cross-referenced the timestamps and IP addresses, then turned to Chad, his eyes now hard and serious. Mr. Miller, you said he was the only one who touched the servers? According to these logs, it was your nephew who personally deleted the entire defense infrastructure. That's gross negligence, and it could even be considered felony destruction of computer data. Chad looked like he'd been struck by lightning. No, that's impossible. Cody said he just cleaned up some junk files. I delivered the final blow, right? And in his expert opinion, the firewall configuration files were junk. Chad's legs gave out, and he crumpled to the floor. It's over. It's all over. He whispered. Lauren is going to kill me. The officer closed his laptop. Mr. Hayes, thank you for your cooperation. For now, you're not a suspect. He then looked down at the heap on my floor. Mr. Miller, you're coming with us. And we'll need to have a talk with your nephew as well. As they escorted Chad out, the look of pure despair in his eyes was something to behold. But I knew this wasn't over. Just a moment ago, I'd gotten another notification. The company's database had been hit with ransomware. The hackers sent a message. Pay them $5 million in crypto, or all the data would be permanently destroyed. Right now, every bit of data for those billions of dollars in assets was a garbled mess of encrypted code. This time, Lauren was probably going to lose everything she owned. 7 that afternoon, Lauren Reed showed up my door. Her hair was a mess, and dark circles had formed under her eyes. The expensive power suit she was wearing was wrinkled and stained, all traces of the powerful CEO gone. She had 2 large, intimidating men with her. They didn't look like corporate types. Ethan, she said, her voice raspy, I know you can fix this. The hackers want $5 million in crypto. The company's accounts are frozen. You have to decrypt the data. You do this for me, and we'll call it even. I laughed. Is that how you ask for a favor, Lauren? Her eyes hardened. Don't push me. You're going to do this one way or another. She gestured to her 2 goons, and they started to move toward me. I didn't flinch. I just pointed to the small, discreet security camera in the corner of my living room. That's streaming live to a secure server, I said calmly. If you so much as touch me, the footage is automatically sent to the Austin Police Department and every major news outlet in the state. I've already got the headline written. Disgraced FinTech CEO assaults whistleblower. The 2 men stopped and looked back at Lauren. She was shaking with fury. What? What do you want from me? Money? Is that it? Fine. Name your price. I held up 1 finger. $250,000. Cash wire transfer. And that's just my consulting fee. No guarantee I can even fix it. Lauren shrieked. $250,000? Are you insane? That's extortion. It's ransomware. The best minds in the world can't crack it. What makes you think you can demand that kind of money? I shrugged. Then find someone else. See which cybersecurity firm in the country is willing to touch this mess. And you're running out of time, I added. The hackers gave you 24 hours. You have about 12 left. Every hour that passes, they'll permanently delete a chunk of the data. Lauren gritted her teeth, the muscles in her jaw twitching. Just then, her phone rang. She answered on speaker. A cacophony of shouting, crashing glass, and panicked screams filled the air. "Lauren, it's a riot," a voice cried from the phone. "The investors broke into the office. They're destroying everything. Someone has a bottle of gasoline. Oh God, help us." The phone clattered from Lauren's hand. All the fight went out of her, and with a loud thud, she dropped to her knees in front of me. The sound of her kneecaps hitting the hardwood floor made me wince. "Ethan, please," she sobbed. "Help me. I don't want to go to prison." "I'll pay you. I'll pay you the $250,000 right now." Watching the once powerful CEO groveling on my floor like a stray dog, I felt nothing. But I knew it was time to close the trap. After I received confirmation of the $250,000 wire transfer, I went with Lauren back to the office. The place was a war zone. The glass doors were shattered. The walls were spray-painted with giant red letters. "Give US our money back." A group of elderly investors were sitting on the floor, weeping. When they saw Lauren, the crowd erupted. "There's the crook. Get her. We want our life savings." A mob swarmed us. Someone grabbed Lauren's hair. Someone else ripped her jacket. She screamed, trying to hide behind me. "Ethan, do something." I calmly stepped aside, letting a rotten egg sail past me and splatter across her face. Yellow yolk dripped down her perfectly made-up cheek. It was disgusting. "Everyone, listen to me," I yelled, my voice cutting through the noise. "I'm here to restore the system. If the system is fixed, you can get your money. But if you kill the CEO, you'll never see a dime of it." The mention of getting their money back slowly quieted the crowd, though they still surrounded us, their faces full of anger and suspicion. "We'll give you 1 hour," shouted a large man holding a baseball bat. "If it's not fixed by then, we're burning this whole place to the ground." Lauren was a complete wreck. Her face was bruised, half her hair had been torn out, and she had lost one of her heels. She limped behind me into the server room. It was just as chaotic inside. Cody was long gone. The servers were still humming, but the monitors all displayed the ransomware's ominous red countdown clock. 3 hours remaining. Lauren stood beside me, trembling. "Ethan, can you really fix it? It's ransomware." I ignored her and pulled a black external hard drive from my backpack. My secret weapon, the ace in the hole for any truly professional sysadmin. A cold backup. A physically disconnected, air-gapped cold backup. Right before Chad's moron nephew had deleted everything, I had mirrored the entire core database onto this drive. As for the ransomware, a full format and a fresh install would take care of that. As long as you have the data, nothing else matters. I plugged in the drive, and my fingers became a blur across the keyboard. Reinstalling the operating system, deploying the environment, importing the data, and activating my new and improved Aegis defense script. The progress bar crawled across the screen. 10%, 50%, 99%. Lauren held her breath, her eyes glued to the monitor. She didn't even dare to wipe the egg yolk from her face. Ping, a single clear chime. The red countdown timer vanished. In its place was the familiar, cool green interface of our system dashboard. System restoration complete. Database integrity verified. Aegis defense system activated. A wave of cheers erupted from the lobby outside. "The app is working. My money is there. It's all there. Withdraw. Withdraw everything now." Lauren's legs gave out, and she sank to the floor, gasping for air. "It's back. It's really back." She looked up at me, her expression a mixture of gratitude and, more than anything, pure fear. "Ethan, thank you," she stammered. "Come back to work tomorrow. You could be the CTO. I'll raise your salary to $200,000. I unplugged my hard drive and put it back in my bag. I looked down at her, a crumpled heap on the floor. "You're mistaken, Lauren. I fixed the system to collect my $250,000 consulting fee, and because I didn't want to see those people out there lose their retirement funds. As for working for you," I let out a cold laugh. "You can't afford me." I turned and walked out of the server room. As I entered the main lobby, I saw that the police had returned. This time, they weren't alone. They were accompanied by agents from the Economic Crimes Division. The officer in charge was the same one who had visited my apartment. He walked straight past me to Lauren. He held up a warrant. "Lauren Reed, As the chief executive officer of this company, you are under arrest. You are being investigated on suspicion of securities fraud, embezzlement, and criminal negligence in a major security incident. Please come with us." Lauren completely broke down. She grabbed the officer's leg, wailing. "It wasn't me. It was Chad Miller. He hired the guy. The system is fixed. The money is all there." The officer coldly shook her off. "The system may be restored, but the State Securities Board has already issued its ruling. Due to the hiring of an unqualified individual, which led to a catastrophic system failure lasting 48 hours, causing severe public panic, your company's financial services license has been permanently revoked." Furthermore, he added, during his interrogation, Chad Miller identified you as the mastermind. He claims you intended to use the hacker attack as a cover to write off the company's massive bad debts. Lauren's face turned ashen. "Chad, I'll kill you," she screamed like a banshee as two female officers restrained her and dragged her toward a waiting squad car. As they passed me, she fixed me with a venomous glare. "Ethan, this was you. You set me up." I gave her a little wave and a smile. "Have a nice life, Lauren. Hope you look good in orange." I watched the police car speed away, its sirens wailing. I walked out of the building and into the bright afternoon sun. I felt lighter than I had in years. A liquidation firm would handle the company's remaining assets. The investors would likely get some of their money back, but the company was finished. As for Chad Miller, I heard later that he was facing at least 10 years for corporate sabotage and embezzlement. His nephew, Cody, was expelled from his university and had a permanent black mark on his academic record. His career in the tech industry was over before it began. That was the price they paid. The price for disrespecting technology. 3 months later, I used the $250,000 as seed money to launch my own cybersecurity consulting firm. It was a small operation, just me and 2 other guys I trusted. But because of the now legendary story of how I'd resurrected a dead fintech firm, word had gotten around. Business owners in the tech space knew there was a guy named Ethan Hayes who could snatch data back from the jaws of a ransomware attack. Our client list grew steadily. One day, I was performing a security audit for another P2P lending company. The owner, a friendly, portly man, offered me a cigarette. "Mr. Hayes, I heard you used to work for that other fintech, the one that went under?" That Lauren Reed was a real titan, a regular iron lady. "How'd you go down so hard?" I took the cigarette and tucked it behind my ear, my eyes still on my laptop. I tapped a few keys and said, because she didn't understand one simple rule. "What rule is that?" the owner asked, leaning in. I pointed to the automated interception script running on the screen, the next generation of my Aegis system. It was like a silent, loyal sentinel, quietly guarding the endless flow of data. "The rule is this," I said. "In our digital age, behind every system that seems to be running smoothly, there's a team of people carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. You can disrespect the people. That's your choice. But you cannot disrespect the technology. Because if you do, the technology will teach you a lesson in respect." The owner stared, speechless for a moment, then broke into a grin and gave me a thumbs up. "Profound. Absolutely profound. Mr. Hayes, whatever we agreed on for the maintenance contract, I'm adding another 20%. I smiled, and this time it was a genuine smile. Outside my window, the sun was setting, and the neon lights of Austin were beginning to glow. I knew that in this jungle of steel and glass, there were countless programmers just like me, weaving the digital safety net that holds our world together. Maybe nobody ever sees us, but as long as we're here, the world won't collapse.